Hello, I'm Kristen Bomas, and welcome to Speak Your Truth podcast, a conscious journey to enlightenment. Today, I would love to talk about all the various marches that have taken place over the last, maybe year and a half. It's been a really exciting time to be American because everybody is opening up their voice and talking about stuff. So I ask, have you marched in the last year? Have you wanted to march in the last year? Have you watched the marches in the last year? Let's look at that whole phenomena briefly. We're not going to look at the phenomena that way, but I'm so excited because we live in a country that is freedom of speech, it's diversity, it's about unity, it's about just life. It's some of the highest spiritual principles that we're built upon more than any other country in the world in terms of our written constitution. And so we really have a fabulous foundation for being able to find freedom. And over the last months, we've had all kinds of marches, and everybody has had an opportunity to march for whatever it is they believe in. And so the teachers of Oklahoma, oh my God, if you've read that story, that's another podcast in and of itself, but they have now walked out, as West Virginia or Virginia, I'm going to get those two confused, those teachers walked out. So the teachers are starting to fight to be seen and to be known. We have the March for Our Lives coming out of our own backyard here in South Florida, our Parkland students who we couldn't be more proud of. We had the March for Women that a lot of these marches, by the way, took place around the world, that the world was following the Americans. And as we marched for particular beliefs, people all around the world marched for the same beliefs in support of not only us, but their own lives, which is really exciting. We have the Me Too and Time's Up movements. The men have now started their own movements to support that movement. We have things, and I'm sure I'm forgetting something like really exciting. We had, Black Lives Matter. We have Lives Matter. We are really looking to move these experiences into balance in this life. And I'm waiting for the gay community to really stand up. They've got a couple things they need to be fighting for, and they are going to have a voice here soon, I'm sure. Because most of our subcultures and groups have really found a voice, and it's just fabulous because that tells us that things are moving and changing, and I love change. It can be scary at times, but if we just breathe in life, we know that we're going to ride that wave into a great new beginning, and it's always for the betterment of life, and whether it's on a personal level or a global level. And so we're going through a lot of upheaval, right? That's this time on this planet. But surrounding all of that upheaval is the voice that's rising, a voice rising to heal and unite, to bring together a balance of great acceptance. And we're fighting in all kinds of soft, gentle ways to be heard. No longer is it war. I remember back in the 60s we used to say, war on love. Like, what is that? War on peace. Like, can't have those words in the same sentence. Well, we're not having a war here. We're having a voice. We're opening up that voice, and we're really saying what it is. And I have to tell you, it's the most exciting time I can imagine what we're experiencing right now at a country level. So I really ask each of you to think about these various platforms, and there are more, certainly, and what are your beliefs and what do you believe in? And do you believe in it enough to become active, to make your own side, no matter what that is, and to march on behalf of something that you strongly believe in? It's a time to become aware not only of your own self, but what are the judgments you don't want to endure? How have you endured judgment in your own life? I teach always with a quote of mine that we judge only in the way we're fearful of being judged, and that is very, very real. And so when we look at these times and these marches and these people really being willing to have a voice for what they believe in, it's a time to know they're moving beyond the judgments that have held them back in some way, whether it's repression or oppression or just being ignored completely. And so the voice of each of us brings together the voice of unity. When we think of a chord, it's made up of multiple notes. And so let's imagine a chord of millions of notes. And each note is another human being. And each note is critically important to the sound of the chord. So your voice is an important part of the sound of the chord. So I offer to each and every one of you the opportunity to think inside yourself, what is it that you believe in deeply? And what is it that you would like to march for or show the world you believe in? And remove yourself from the judgments that have held you back in the past. And use your voice. We don't have to use anything else. Because people want to be heard. And if everybody wants to be heard, we start to respect that. And all of a sudden, the voice gets heard. And it's from the voice that the change begins. And as the change begins, behaviors begin. And as behaviors begin, the change is solidified. And we move on. So the voice initiates many, 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 many aspects of change. We've heard politicians say, oh, they can't vote, it doesn't have anything to do with blah, blah. Oh, but it does. Because the voice opened up the voice, opened up the voice, so that everybody now has their voice active. And so if it's about voting, fine. Everybody who can vote, who now has found their vote, their voice, even if that voice came from students, the students raise us up, right? To have a voice, to want to get out there and vote, and to do whatever we do, right? But that's a very beautiful place to be. Here in our own backyard, again, we had a family down here who lost their son to hazing, and they've started a foundation to try. They want to change the hazing that's taking place in our colleges and high schools, and I couldn't agree more. We've lost. We've had some really brutal hazings of young athletes. ESPN has done a great job covering that. We've lost some of our children to hazing that's gone just a bit too far, and in this family's case, they lost their son at FSU because of hazing in a fraternity that went too far. And so we have these parents that want to do something, but I bring it up because the response was, this is why it will not work, because your parents wanting to make changes in a student's world, it needs to come from the students. Boy, what we have learned in this last year. The voice must come first from those deeply personally affected, and then rise so that the rest of us can join and carry them through and carry it through in the way we believe. I may not have been personally affected by hazing, but I may have a passion for that being turned around. I may have a passion about bullying being turned around. I may have a passion about those things. And so I will join that voice to make it a bigger voice, to make it a more diverse voice, and to make it a voice of change. And so, welcome change. For without it, this life would not exist. Every minute must die for the next minute to be born. So I ask you again, what is it that you deeply believe and that you are deeply passionate about? Let's all find our voice in unity and harmony, in all of our diversity, and bring about beautiful change on this earth. Have a wonderful day. And please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It would really help us out a lot. And join us on Facebook as well as LinkedIn. And if you have any questions, thoughts, or opinions about anything you heard in this podcast, please feel free to send them to me in an email at askkristen@kristenbomas.com. You can also communicate with me on Facebook as well as on my website, kristenbomas.com. Thank you again, and have a wonderful day with a beautiful voice.